Welcome back, and as we earlier said, we're going to have an exciting segment today. Of course, that's going to be very beneficiary to all the people who are watching us right now. It's the how to establish pocket gardens, what is known as the pocket gardens, in the smallest areas inside your house. Whatever could be the area is, you can still establish your own garden, small little garden, and you can still plant your exotic plants, whatever you would like. But it has to be conditioned by the place and also the weather. And we're going to talk about establishing pocket gardens according to the strategy of sustainable development for 2030. Of course, this is a very brilliant idea to be able to establish greenery even if you don't have a garden. And the best one to talk to us about those tips and how to establish such an environment inside your small house is our beautiful guest. She's with us here right now, Dr. Germin Farouk, and she's a professor of architecture at Ain Shama University. Good morning, Dr. Al-Ghori.
Good morning.
Good morning, doctor. And just as we were talking right now, the idea that having a garden is not a luxury anymore.
No.
If I'm not living or having a space for a garden or something like this, or even it is a small house, still I have the chance to have my own pocket garden.
Yes.
And definitely this will change our mood. This will give us a positive energy. A lot of things actually still related to sustainable development. Tell us more about the idea if I'm living in a small space and still I have the chance to have my own pocket garden.
Yes. Actually, I want to explain what a pocket garden, you know, what's a pocket? It's the smallest thing in our clothes. It's in here. Also, they called it pocket because it's close to the person, you know, it just stuck to you. It's very personal, very intimate. We can call pocket garden for any space around you that is not a big garden at all. The entrance, the corridor between, you know, just between you and your neighbors, the backyard, the patios. You know what's a patio and courtyard? The patio is any courtyard inside the house or outside the house. The spaces between buildings, if it's a residential or business center, or you know this small courtyard in hospitals or schools where everybody meets, from teachers, you know, teacher waiting or something like that. All this you can call a pocket garden. Also, if we get closer to the person, especially I came today to be to talk about sustainable also again. Let's start our sustainable development. That I want to show everybody how to live in his balcony as if it's a garden, using his internal, any extra stuff he has, any material to be recycled inside his house. It can be used, as I'm going to show you, to live in a very comfortable, exotic atmosphere. I like actually the term ambiance, to make a nice ambiance, which will give you, change your mood, and also will work as environmental help in this global warming issues, because you are going to add greenery in your balcony, even your roof. And now I'm going to tell you that if I don't have any space, I can work in my wall. And that's what we're going to talk, and we'll get further to it, to use this space, this small space, as much as you can. Every corner, everything that you have to use, even if it's 1.5 meters, you know, just the width, you are going to use every inch in it, even the sky, if it does not exist. I'll show you. You can cover it with any kind of shade or something. You can hang some herbs. You can make some trails, which is, you know, just cover, or pergolas that are covered by roses or covered by grapes or covered by tomatoes. We'll get in deep with it when we talk now.
But does that attract insects or something? I mean, hanging grapes and hanging those types, some different, specific types of plants might attract some other elements that might be not amicable?
Actually, everything has we talked about, if you remember, Dina, 2 months ago or something like that, about now there is a trend to attract insects. But not rats,
Really?
of course. Yes, there is a trend.
I hope it's not roaches.
this trend just to, make the habitat more, because they want to more, roses attract what they call bees, so they want to increase bees. Of course, there are some things that you can use another plant to get along it. As I tell you something, the ginger, when you put some ginger in your balcony, it can get away with the rats. It repels rats and all reptiles, I mean. Ginger and, chamomile. Chamomile also, it helps in getting rid of reptiles.
I think not all plants are homes for reptiles. I believe that
Yes,
there are
of course.
certain plants that usually they like to be inside.
Inside the house.
Yes, inside the plants, I mean.
Inside there, yes, yes. And actually, not everything is harmful. Not all insects are harmful. I will show you that.
I can see some pictures, if you can
See. Actually, I can.
Right, but still I like the idea of
Small.
Yes,
I think if I can see the
yes, we
the
will try
photos.
to show you. But again, back to the point, yes, Dina was talking about the idea of having your own garden inside, a small space inside the house.
Okay.
Establishing
This is this is a backyard one. This is a backyard. Actually, see how the designer, he used every little corner, and the walls, actually, it's something very important. What's the element of what you have? You have walls, you have fences, you have some little area of the land. So you have to use all kind of help from the walls. You have to hang all the plants. And actually, one of the keys of these tiny spaces is what we call it edible spaces. Edible that you can eat. So this is the trend for this environment, that you have to. The herbs are the most powerful plant in our case in here. That you can use mint, lavender. That's the herbs that you eat or you just smell for the mood or the ambiance, as we said, from all kind of aromatic plants and edible plants, because tomatoes climbs and grapes climbs, so we can use it in trellis. Here are some kind that you use pots, because sometimes there's no way to put any plants in the flower. These are LED lighting. This is one of my designs. This is what is called using recycled materials. We used tires, we used...
These are tires?
Yes, these are tires, and these are all recycled material that are thrown away in the house that you can plant in it. So in this way...
How did you use the tires, for example?
You just paint it. Paint it and fill it inside. It's very heavy, by the way. You fill it inside with mud, and then you put the
tires are very useful. They could be used also winter time for animals as homes to live in them.
This is one of my local trials. This is a kitchenette in one of villas in New City. And this is how you use every spot in this small space. I used what is called the wall, a standing wall, to make it as a sitting area for the people. And at the same time, that's it. And you use the kitchenette, all these openings to put the food, as for everybody, and it works on both sides. And this is an oven also at the same area. So you'll see that you use every bit. Little plants, a lot of hardscape, what we call hardscape, and you're trying to make everything multifunction. That use it for everything. This is in a balcony. This is a small balcony in a house. Just use what you said, a corner with some pots. Just you color the pots.
Color
It
the
gives
pots.
it. That's the actually. You give what is called pop-up of colors. Just a touch of make contrast of colors to show if especially if the plants are most of the time, especially the herbs, are green. So color the
What
pots.
is that corner?
This
It's
is what we called a vertical garden or green walls. It's one of the most suitable solutions in very tiny areas. And here, as a sustainable thinking, that designer, we used some plastic bottles to hang the because actually it's a bit expensive for hanging, getting the special pockets for it. So you can use any pockets. Here it's a balcony. He used some pots and he hanged some green plants, especially herbs. And here by the corner there are some tomatoes, as you said, and mint. Yeah, that's what I said. Most of the herbs, if does not include fruits or flowers, the herbs are green. So that's why I recommend to color the pots itself. Here it's a very, very tiny backyard.
This one is so beautiful.
Actually, this we want to put some dining area, and what you see, there's a very, very trick that are used now with hanging mirrors. If you can see the mirror in small area, they put mirrors now just
to feel that it is a big or large space.
Double. Here's another kind of recycling, using some glass bottles for making the furniture itself. And some like sculptures, and also to lighten, to put some lighting.
I like the idea of the recycling. Maybe I would like to ask more about this part, because
this is one of the most fashionable and used now. This is one of my tries for small area, that you use the wall and you make it some flower boxes to put some flowers, but actually these flowers are infills, are seasonal flowers. But just for more, and sometimes when it's gone, this I want to talk about it. Water. Water in very small spaces. It's very difficult to make a big swimming pool or something, but you have to use water. Water in these cases, it has to be the kind of small fountains or curtain, what is called curtain, water curtain, which is vertical, as you see, with some lights. Of course, lighting gives a lot of very nice, it's very important for security at night in these small areas with pots. And this is a very nice trial. It was a drawer and some boots. You can put some mud and plant everything to give you nice looking, and it will be recyclable. Don't throw anything. That's what I call. Don't throw anything to help the environment to keep. Actually, this is a very funny trial, and this is also with tires. This is also with tires. They put it over each other, and you just paint it and put some mud in it, or you can even put the pot at itself. This is another small trial. This is also, it's very, very tiny. With the width, it's only 4 meters. 4 meters, about 6 meters pocket garden. And he built in, this is what we call built-in seats. These seats, it can be used for everything. You sit on it, or you make it as your buffet, and put your food in it. This is what I call multi-use. Use every corner. Use the wall. And there is something very important I want to ask you in this. Paint white. If any wall does exist in this small space, use white color to make it more wider. That white makes things white or beige or yellow, these light colors. This is one also of my local trials. This is just an entrance. It's a corridor. So just by the side of the hand, just some flowers beside the walkthrough, and an important what we call tree, just expensive tree in the entrance. It's very important to put something luxurious in the entrance. And this is, of course, also one of my local trials. I want to show you, this is what we call gazebo. In small areas, you can make a small room just with a cover, small house, and actually I used in here a kind of flower cloth to people and some cushions to feel that you get comfortable and you feel that it's a part of your home.
Is this a balcony or a terrace?
No, it's in a backyard.
In a backyard.
In a backyard. This is a balcony that he used to hang dust the pots. That's what I tell you. Use everything. Use the wall. You have to. The wall is something because we don't have any land here. Don't have any. So use the wall. Hang them with any kind of artistic look that you like. But eat from it. Do whatever you want from it. But feel comfortable with. I don't know if I talked about what's called biophilic. Biophilic. Oh, this is very colorful one. He used only green herbs, so he colored the wall. He colored the fence with a lot of colors. And he used, I think, some bottles. You can use any plastic jars you have. This is one of my local trials also. It's only a small terrace with just a dining area. This is continuous. Here are some of the trials with the bottles and this recycling stuff. You know this pockets that you use for hanging shoes? The one in the middle? You can just fill it with mud and put any plants in it. You can do it with no expensive stuff. You can use anything that anyone can have his own nice area, relaxing area here, just very small, and the very strange trick that get your inside stuff outside. As I show you maybe some for the cushions of inside, get it outside so people will feel comfortable, you know, having all their flowery stuff or their internal stuff. Here are all your continuation for the area I showed you before. For the terrace I made for this kitchenette. Just the whole area for party. Here are using, but this is not complete yet, pavement by the back of the bottles, glass bottles. Just instead of getting expensive stuff, just they were, you know, collecting bottles for a long time, just put it, invert it, and you can use it. This is inside of a kitchenette. This is the kitchenette that you make outside the house. Also, there's something very important, stainless steel, and don't use much wood in our country. If you use something outside like this, you have to use very, you know, sustainable and durable materials to live more. This is an entrance, actually, entrance of a house. They want to see that's what I was telling you, the trails, which is the hanging plants all over, just to feel as if you are in a very green space and nice space while you are entering your house. No problem that you have very little small space that you can't make a lot of things, put it or a lot of plants. This is another trail that you hang flowers. There are no hanging roses. You just make some arches and put this climbing roses at the end of each column, and it will. Of course, it needs help. It needs help. Of course, it will. From now and then, you have to take the end of it and help it and roll it around the arch. Like a zigzag. This is what's called one of the types of edible garden. It's made by boxes. Just, you know, just normal boxes. They took it and put it over each other with a lot of plants and gave it very, very nice. And you put it vertical like this. This is another trial with some plastic colorful. As you see, it's another shed that gives dynamic walk when you walk in this small area. See this nice colorful stuff? When these colors comes on by light on the land while you are walking, it will move with the sun, so it will give you a feel of dynamic while you walk, and will give the sense of humor and the sense of happiness in the place. Just what I say, give it a contrast of color. This is also another very small area, but the art, it's what we call start art. The art, you can install some art. Here they try to draw some kind of this wall. Okay, and what, you know, that's the fashion now is graffiti, I think.
At the same time also preserving the environment.
Yes, of
There
course.
is a special concern that we can notice in all these scenes, special concern and reservation
About
for preserving
stuff.
environment.
Yes, yes, of
That,
course.
is that true?
It's true, because what is the idea of using, don't leave this space just without anything, not just for you. You have to, for the environment, you have to put some green to give more oxygen, to give more plants for the environment, and more insects, as you said.
The idea also when it comes to environment in general, something came to my mind. I don't know how to promote this. For example, when it comes to all balconies, houses. When you travel, you will see in each and every balcony there are plants and flowers and colorful. But here, sometimes when you walk, you will find balconies like a storage room. And
Yes.
definitely this is against environment,
Yes.
of course.
Yes,
If you look at
there's a lot of
the
people
roof of
store
any
their
house,
rubbish
yes,
in it. Yes.
this is something that's really very, very important. How can we work on this? And especially that you are talking about things that are affordable, for example. We're not
Yes.
talking about expensive
No, at all.
things.
Yes.
We need to work on this definitely for protecting our environment, adding beauty to the buildings. And
I think this has to be from the awareness of the people. There have to be any kind of, you know, project of NGOs or media, you know, to make awareness so for people.
If you could
how
allow,
to
if you could allow us, Dr. Germin, who have with us Dr. Ayman Abdul Wahab, is a consultant to the UN for Environmental Affairs. Good morning, Dr. Abdul Wahab.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir? And happy Bayram to you. We were talking.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. We were talking about preserving the environment, and we were talking right now over here, Dr. Germin, about pocket gardens and greenery and landscaping and increasing the spaces of greenery inside our the smallest spaces where we live in the areas and the circles around where we live. If you would like to elaborate about the idea of promoting for preserving the environments through innovative ideas to implicate the Sustainable Development Plan for 2030.
Actually, this is a very important issue, but we are not in the luxury of talking about conserving the environment by increasing green areas and landscaping. The issue is more serious than that. We are talking about climate change. We are talking about severe weather conditions. We are talking about every day more species are getting extinct. We are talking about very, very hot weather, which is covering the entire of Europe. The temperature exceeded 40 degrees Celsius. The asphalt road is melting. We're talking about very serious problem. It's no longer, green areas and greenery and landscaping. We're talking about, I don't want to, increase panic, but, we're talking about a dying planet. And actually, I raised this initiative that we have to risk our planet from being dying. But it's going on. Look at the North and South Pole. Ice is melting. Ice mountains that have been, in the ice states for millions of years, it's melting now. There is rivers of fresh water pouring into the ocean and raising the water level. Islands are disappearing all over the world. I don't know why, everybody is silent about that. We are in a very serious situation. If we don't act right now, not only on a personal level, but on a nation, worldwide level, we are going to lose our planet. We are going to be the next species to get extinct. This is very serious. It's very serious.
Dr. Ayman, just as you mentioned, we all felt, even those who did not believe in the climate change at the very beginning, now it is crystal clear. We have seen the change of the weather, of course, in Europe, in areas that they did not expect this. Even in Egypt now, we're changing the season of winter and summer. We have also pollution all over the world. We are talking about recycling. Sometimes we have some basic commodities that we are not to use anymore, like the plastic bags, for example. So talking about the role of the individual, the normal citizen, definitely he has a role in this as well, saving energy, waste materials, recycling, all these things.
Well, if you want to talk about the individual, individuality responsibility, then we have to be very clear about that. We have to use resources very wisely. Switch all the lights in your homes when you are not using it. Don't light all the house. Don't light everything you have. Don't accept to take plastic bags all over the place. When you go shopping, if you buy one
Yes.
single object, don't take a plastic bag. Sometimes when I go to the pharmacy or to the supermarket and I buy one or two items, I refuse to take a plastic bag. But the vendor insists. He thinks that he's being generous by giving me a plastic bag. We have to increase awareness. Some people still are not aware that we are in a very critical situation. Nowadays I'm on the north coast, and every day I walk along the shore. There are dead turtles, there are dead fishes, and the sea is dying. So on the personal level, we have to use what we need from resources. We don't have to throw extra food, because this food, it was planted, it was harvested, it was there was processed in different manufacturing processes, and all this is translated into consuming energy. Consuming energy through using fossil fuel means that we are polluting the environment. Polluting environment, we are increasing the severity of climate change. So it's a very vicious circle. And if we don't break this circle, we are in a very great danger. And not only the coming generations, but our generation is in a very great danger.
Right, Dr. Abdulwahab, listening to the very important and serious and sad and grave signs that you have pointed out at earlier, a few minutes ago, that is endangering our planet. It seems that we are in a serious urge to be able to enact very firm laws and enforce it the soonest way, to be able to control the situation and save our planet. So are there any serious steps taken from international community and international laws to be able to enact it and enforce it as soon as possible by force, to be able to control the situation over people who are irresponsible?
Well, there are very diverse reactions from different nations, different countries. Like for some European countries, like Germany, like Sweden, like Norway, they are very aware about the seriousness of the situation, and they are taking very firm steps toward conserving the environment and conserving resources. Some other nations are careless, like the United States. They just deny that there is anything going on with Earth or climate change. So we are getting some wrong messages from different places. So I cannot say that we have a consistent reaction from different countries. We are getting wrong messages from very big nations and very big countries like the United States, for example. They are setting a very bad example. They are setting a very bad example, and actually they are the most polluting country all over the world. They emit more than 20% of the polluting gases.
Exactly.
all over the world, and
Exactly.
they are not 20% of the population. They're just 300 million or 400 million. While we're
Exactly,
talking
Doctor.
about 7 billion, capita all over the world. So
Right.
we don't have a united action
United stance.
all over the world.
Exactly,
I'm sorry
Dr.
to say that.
Unfortunately, Dr. Ayman Abdul Wahab, very thankful to you. Dr. Ayman Abdul Wahab, you are a consultant to the UN for Environmental Affairs. Thank you very much, sir, for giving us your input over that very important issue. And you have a beautiful day. And back to you, Nashwa
Yes,
and
of
Dr.
course. Talking about
Germin.
what is the importance when it comes to protecting environment in reducing, recycling, and reusing as well?
Actually, because recycled materials are supposed to be our rubbish, which will end up, if we didn't recycle, it will end up in the landfill. So this is extra pollution. This is, you are going to be, so instead of this pollution or putting more rubbish in the landfill, we recycle it and reusing it again. And the second thing, you know that when you conserve resources, it's a kind of conserving resources. Imagine if you are going to use these tires for imagine. Can you imagine when you, if you want to use when you make a new tire or something, to make a new tire, imagine when you started from the industrial area, how much effort it will take, how much energy it will take to make this new stuff. So that's why you're not just reducing rubbish landfill. No, you are also conserving the resource or starting it from the beginning. The construction from the beginning, or making any tables, or so that's why we used wood again. We used all kind of things again. So maybe you can preserve 1 or 2 years of working hard to get new one. Do you understand?
It seems that pollution and all the climate change and all the issues that are related to the climate change need also awareness.
Yes,
it's
that's
not
what
also
we were talking,
enacting and enforcing.
Me and Nashwa, awareness, not just for
because most of the people when you go shopping somewhere and someone is offering you a plastic bag, they, like Dr. Abdul Wahab have just said, they could consider you generous if you give me a plastic bag. They are not aware of the fact. They are not educated enough. Not educated, of course.
They are not aware.
This is not education,
has
but
to be
awareness.
changed with the recycled
because
papers.
they are using these plastic bags also in other things at
of
home.
course.
And this is the main concept, actually.
But they have to understand that this is not safe.
A lot of shops in Egypt now, they started to
there was an initiative actually that was taken by some NGOs.
Paper bags.
But they have to understand that it's not safe for their health, it's not safe for the environment, for the planet, for the circles that we live in, to possess plastic.
In the past, we used to have the paper bags and all this in the past. Yes,
I remember my grandma, she used to go shopping.
And burning the garbage also.
And burning the garbage. Wow.
It's even worse than plastic bags.
That's why we have to reduce the garbage as much as we can.
And using poisonous substance like strychnine poison to poison the stray dogs and cats in the street. It's very hazardous.
Do you remember there was a big debate a few years ago in Gezira Club or something? I can't remember, in one of the clubs or something. I can't remember about.
But back to the idea of preserving environment and nature and the beauty of nature. If you are used to see something beautiful in front of you, definitely you will not be able to destroy it, or to throw away waste or something like this. Back to the same point of...
Actually, there are people used to not to see the beauty at all. Not to see the beauty at all, I think. So there is something I've heard about, which is also in our environmental issue. It's called vermiculture. It's something new, that there are some kind of worms. They feed the worms by the rubbish, the domestic rubbish.
Exactly.
Yes, so these worms...
We were all taught in science about even, I mean, it's
and you take this,
it's science.
And then you put...
It's not nothing
back
new.
as a nutrients for your garden.
Unfortunately, Dr. Germin Farouk, you are a professor of architecture at Ain Shama University. We ran out of time. Thank you very much for coming over. As usual, it was all very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show. I was in the company of my dear colleague Nashwa Rashid. My name is Dina Hussein, and you have a beautiful Friday. Until we see you again tomorrow, that's a goodbye.